Welcome to Lex's World. So there's a lot of people who watch my channel who are maybe not growers quite yet, but want to do it in the near future. And for you guys who want to get into it, usually I talk about the benefits of growing cannabis, which are many. But today I wanted to lay out some common misconceptions or myths about growing that I sure wish somebody told me. Some of which might dissuade you from doing it altogether, but they'll also adjust your expectations in the right direction. So let's go through them. Reality. It's not free. Even in the best case scenario where you can grow outdoors without investing anything into security and have free water supply and soil, you're still going to be investing in various gardening equipment and plenty of seeds. Your labor will also be significant. Trimming alone, which most hobbyist growers have to do manually, is very time consuming. Even a personal grow that's done outdoors can involve 30 or 40 hours of total labor over the entire growing season. As for growing indoors, that has a far higher overhead. Even at the hobbyist level, newbies will often spend over $1,000 to do their first setup right. Your first harvest will likely just go to cover that. It is true that if you go at it successfully over a few cycles, then you'll save or make money overall. Reality. Doing it badly is easy. But the results of doing it badly is that your harvest yield is very low the odd time that you actually make it all the way to harvest. Meaning that if you stay within legal growing limits, you might be pulling so little weight every few months that it really isn't worth your while to begin with. Growing like a pro and getting consistent, impressive yields is really hard. While learning how to grow weed well doesn't have to be super complicated, it is going to involve some reading, learning, and some failures. Be ready to take lots of notes and to treat it like learning any major new skill. Reality. Accept to harvest far less than you predict. Then try out the math with that. A long time ago I made an episode about how much a single plant yields. To sum that episode up, while it's true that an outdoor plant that's grown just a certain way can yield a pound or more, this is not typical. And typical indoor growers who use spaces like tents and closets are lucky to get more than a couple ounces off of one plant. In other words, aim high, but also have reasonable expectations. Reality. This is a dangerous misconception that gets people into deep trouble. Under no circumstances should you use growing cannabis as a means to get out of debt, especially if you don't already have extensive experience with growing. A large portion of beginner attempts at growing end in failure. Sometimes it's several months into that first attempt. Like a buddy of mine from Alberta who lost most of his first harvest due to a mold outbreak that happened during drying and curing. Can the debt you're trying to pay off afford a failure like that? Usually the answer is no, so it's not a risk that's worth taking. Reality. This myth is relatively new. Someone who lives in a legal jurisdiction might throw caution to the wind and just throw some seeds in the dirt, assuming that they have the right, no matter who asks. In fact, just because personal growing is legal in your area doesn't mean it can't cause you problems. Often a landlord or a strata or a municipality or a county won't let you grow. Or they'll restrict your growing in some ways, like demanding that you get a license. In some areas there's plant limits and plant canopy limits that you have to watch out for too. Make sure that you understand them. You may also run into issues with your neighbors when flowering starts and the smell from your outdoor grow or even your indoor grow starts to travel. A municipality can shut you down with a flood of tickets if the odor is bothering neighbors, so much so that they're complaining. Obviously, growers can manage this with a carbon filter, but you get what I mean. And those are probably the top 5 misconceptions. If none of those dissuaded you and you're still interested in growing, that's excellent. In fact, I encourage you to watch my How to Start a Grow episode, which I'll link to in the description, and you can figure out whether you have a fitting location to grow and what you should read first. Good luck, and be sure to subscribe and hit that like button if you haven't already. See you next time.